Hello everyone, welcome to another Let's Play. My name is Anna Mardal and this is A Little Lily Princess by Hanako Games. I've already done a Let's Play walkthrough of this for one of the endings. It was Jessie's ending, and if you haven't seen that one, I strongly urge you to go watch that. This video will be part of that playlist and see the whole story from start to finish with Jessie, because and one of the reasons that I've been delaying getting back into this game, which I really liked, is there's 8 more endings, and I didn't want to read all the text 8 more times. I don't think that most of you want to hear me read the same book 9 times in a row. So what I will be doing for this walkthrough is I will be skipping most of the text that we've already seen. For those who need a refresher but don't want to go and rewatch something they've already seen, this is a visual novel game based on the book A Little Princess by Frances Hodgson Burnett. You've probably seen one of the many movies that have been made on this book, but it's about a little girl named Sarah who has moved to London because her rich father who lives in India wants her to have the best possible education at this finishing school for girls. And she's rich, she's wealthy, she's privileged, she's as good as a princess in the eyes of the other girls. And then her father dies and she falls on hard times because all his money gets taken up in, creditors and bad investments and such. And she's reduced to poverty, and she lives that way for a while. Her spirit's undaunted, and then eventually she's found by her father's old friend who is rich again and wants to make up for, to this girl that he sort of inadvertently orphaned, and because he was the one that her father invested in his business venture and ended up dying. So that's the whole plot there. I probably should have put a spoilers tag on that, but if you've watched the last playthrough, you should know that already. So, the other reason that I've been avoiding diving back into this is I'm not a professional voice actor, and I'm pretty sure I'm not going to be able to perfectly emulate all the accents I gave everybody the last time through. I wasn't able to consistently emulate them during the playthrough itself. So everyone may sound very different now, and for that I apologize. But I have had several requests to go through and see more of the endings. My best friend in the entire world has been listening to some of these in order to go to sleep and has said that Key wants more endings. So here we go. And also, I really waffled on whose ending to choose, but I'm going for Lavinia because I adore her. And I always felt really bad that I accidentally locked off her path in my first playthrough because I wasn't paying attention as well as might have been ideal. So, this is a Lavinia run. And we'll see how long it takes when I'm only reading new text. And this, just to set the scene. It was spring when Sarah's school life began, but spring in London was nothing like any spring she had known before. The morning sun was not enough to lift the chill from the stony streets, and the mist off the river blended with the smoke of countless chimneys to form a thick yellow fog. In such weather, the gas lamps burned night and day, flickering like stars to guide the horse-drawn ships to their destinations. But the ship that had carried her across the ocean was now a thing of the past. Here, then, was Sarah's new home. It was a big, dull brick house, exactly like all the others in its row, except that on the front door there shone a brass plate which was engraved in black letters, Miss Minchin's Select Seminary for Young Ladies. So here we are, and I'm going to hit skip. Woo, look at that fly. Okay, so these are the mechanics of the game. You choose an activity for Sarah to perform each day. Each activity has 3 possible outcomes, which will change the icons you receive. The point of this is that various scenes with other characters require you to spend these icons. So, I'm going to save. I don't even know how many slots. Okay, that's cool. We'll just call this... There we go. Because again, we're going for Lavinia. And I do not remember off the top of my head what she needs in order to get her first. So I'm just going to do a little bit of everything except Tea Party. Write in diary. And these are random, as you recall. Those lines, gain this or gain that or double all. We've got no control over it. I did some save scumming in the last game, and I don't know if that will be necessary here, but I'm perfectly prepared to do that if I have to. So we gained 1 book in reading. Double all vigor, but there wasn't any vigor over here to double. We gained... art equal to half art, which there was no art to have. Walking, we gained an art and a vigor. What? Why didn't that work? I don't know why that didn't work. Anyway, we didn't get very much. I suck at picking choices. So this is Sarah's rooms. And I'm again gonna skip through all of this. This may be pretty quick. Okay, so we needed 3 grace for Lavinia. So, although it says week 2. Does it need to be week 2? Let's... I never did quite get a good feel. Okay, what has Grace? Grace is the little angel. So, your options are either... Oh, okay, so it's a gain Grace equal to Vigor. I don't want that. So really, my only option is Tea Partying. There's no other good way to get... Oh, wait. Oh, okay, so Practice Dance has the ability to potentially have a lot of Grace. Except we could get a crappy double all vigor instead. Well, let's do Practice Dance and see what happens. Already save scamming. That's not a good sign. Okay, here we go. 1 grace. Ooh, 2 more graces. 1 more grace. 1 more grace. Oh, okay, that's a lot of grace. So here we are over here. There's a limit on each of these of 10, at which point they stop adding up. So let's skip our rooms again. Okay, so sure enough, we have to wait until week 2. On the weekends, you can spend resources you have collected in order to unlock scenes with different characters. The requirements for each event will be listed in the box next to the character. If an event requires 5 belief, playing the event will lower your current belief by 5. Some scenes will not be available until later in the story. Others can only be paid. Okay. So, we can't afford Lottie because I don't have belief. Lavinia won't be open until week 2. And these characters haven't said hi yet. So, we're playing the Jessie event. Hello, Sarah. May I come in to visit? And so, I'm going to skip this one too. I keep feeling bad skipping things, but there's a lot of reading in this game. Actually, I wanted the Lavinia one. That's the hard part with skipping. Okay, here we go. We'll do this scene because it's a Lavinia scene. On Sunday morning, the students gathered in the entrance hall of Miss Minchin's Select Seminary. Girls, are you ready? Form into a line behind Lavinia. Sarah, dear, it is our custom to walk to and from church every Sunday when the weather permits. That allows the horses a day of rest and ensures the students receive regular exercise. It is important to look your best when we are walking out among the public. We want our school to always leave a good impression. You should follow Lavinia's cues. She will show you what to do. Lavinia is always a model student. As if hearing her name, Lavinia smiled and tilted her head. You could learn a great deal from Lavinia, dear. And as her father is also posted to India, the two of you should have much in common. I'm sure you will make close friends. Now go and stand in line behind her. Sarah made her way to the front of the line, where Jessie and Lavinia stood close together. What are you doing? Go to the back. Miss Minchin told me to stand behind you. She said you were a model. Oh, very well then. But that's my place. You wouldn't want to disobey Miss Minchin, would you? No. We have to show our new girl how to behave herself in church. She may never have seen one before. Sarah thought it wisest to remain silent. Okay, so that was pretty much that. Lavinia, as you will remember, is very abrasive at times, but I was fond of her. So I'm going to just add up some of these other... Okay, so go for a walk I don't like, because the first two are blank unless you have vigor. Write in diary is nice, because it's always something. Tea party is nice, because it's always something. There's none of this gain blank extra to blank. Let's do that. Reading and art and belief. Sympathy, reading, patience. Seems good? Yes? A knock came at the door. Sarah, dear. So this is introducing a new character. And bonjour, mademoiselle. And this is a maid from France named Mariette. And she's probably my other favorite character after Jessie. But I wanted to do Lavinia first, but she's probably going to get her third walkthrough because I really like her. But for now, we will skip her. Okay, let's do the Lavinia event. Woohoo! Yay! Okay. Sarah knocked upon the door. It is Sarah Crew. May I come in? You may enter. Miss Minchin's model student was, this day, holding court in her rooms. It was rather small court, consisting as it did of only one loyal follower, Jessie Abbott, but Lavinia's posture suggested no doubts about her right to rule. Hello, Lavinia. May I beg your pardon? Your pardon? That is not begging. Jessie tittered behind her hand. I'm sorry, I don't understand. No, it is evident that there are a great many things you do not understand. That is only to be expected, seeing that you have been raised in the savage outlands. However, here in England, we observe manners. Sarah was perplexed. It was not her desire to be unmannerly, but she could not immediately perceive what breach she had committed. You are too forward, Miss Crew. I have not invited you to use my Christian name. We have already been introduced. Knowing one's name is not sufficient reason to use it. A friend would call me Lavinia. You and I are not yet such friends. Oh, Lavi, she is very young. Children use names freely. It was clear to Sarah that Jessie intended to demonstrate her own superior rank of friendship, not merely Lavinia, but a pet name. How funny that it should be called a pet name when it is Jessie who acts more as the pet to Lavinia. This is a school for young ladies. Even if she is young enough to be excused, she ought to practice. She will need all the polish that she can get. After all, Miss Minchin has set me to be her model. It is my responsibility to correct her mistakes. It is a silly game, these manners, but I do enjoy games. She curtsied then, if only slightly. I pray you will forgive me, Miss Herbert. I was too familiar. Lavinia waved a hand. You are forgiven, of course. Now, what did you wish to speak with me about? Miss Minchin said that your father was stationed in India. I was curious where you lived, whether we might have seen the same... Now, Lavinia, held up her hand again. I have no interest in discussing anything whatsoever to do with India. It is not a proper topic for polite conversation. Sarah frowned. From the odd look on Jessie's face, she too seemed to find this answer disappointing. Please understand, Miss Crewe, we are here in London under the shield of Her Majesty the Queen Victoria of the United Kingdom of Great Britain and Ireland, Defender of the Faith, Empress of India. Everything that matters in the world takes place within these miles. Trade within the city, government in Parliament, and society within the palace. India is a distant hinterland, filthy and rife with disease. It is a jungle out there. Yes, there are jungles, but they are not any more filthy than London is. Nothing could be more filthy than London. A proper lady expresses interest in India only to imagine the thrill of being made to briefly visit such a wild and terrible terrain. You should be very glad that you escaped it. Thrills are exciting. Hush. Lavinia rubbed one hand over the other, as if brushing away dirt. I hope I have made myself clear. We will not be discussing India here. This makes me sad, because she's from India, and she's rejecting it, and I wonder if she has a reason. However, I will be very pleased to aid you in learning the ways of the English, Miss Crewe. I am certain that is what Miss Minchin had in mind when she directed you to me. That is very kind of you. Not at all. It is my duty, and every good English man or woman is keen to do his or her duty. Like my papa, the soldier. Yes, if you must. I still don't understand why she refuses to speak about India. Wasn't she born there? She must know how lovely it can be. Oh, that's sad. I'm saddened. Okay, now we're going to skip this one. I really like that scene because it's the one in which it is shown that Sarah speaks French fluently and does not need a French teacher. But I'm going to skip over it because if I redo all the scenes I like, we'll be here all day. And my voice will give out. And I won't be able to do Let's Plays for a while. And everyone will be sad. So I feel like we probably need Grace again for Lavinia. But I don't know. Let's go back. I'm not sure. And that's too much. So what did that add up to? Okay. If it needs belief, we're screwed. We're going to have to go back. And this is a new character. Ermengarde. And we'll skip her for now. Okay. Oh, okay. So for Lavinia, we need knowledge, patience, and grace. That sounds about right. In her room, Lavinia was displaying her favorite framed print for Sarah's perusal. Even though it is only a print and not an original painting, I keep her on my wall to serve as my inspiration. She is the quintessential English rose, you see. Not the daring and fashionable Gibson girl, but a more traditional beauty, delicate and fair. You see how white her skin is, with only the faintest touch of rose at her cheeks and lips, and her hair, that light ash brown, so unassuming and untouched by artifice. Do you see how she reclines, how she sighs, modest and tender as a petal? That is true beauty. You will never measure up to that standard, of course. I know. Neither will you. I am not fair-haired or soft or rosy-cheeked, but your hair is as straight and black as mine, and your skin is darker. However, you could make some improvements. Your clothing is so queer and old-fashioned. What makes the difference between old-fashioned and traditional? One is better than the other. That's not an answer. Where did you get such a wardrobe? What was your mother thinking? My mother is dead. Oh. Very little ever seemed to make Lavinia uncomfortable. This subject, however, shook her composure. I'm sorry. I didn't mean to be... I didn't know. It's all right. I never knew her, so it doesn't make me sad. She died when I was born. Well, anyway, it's just not done to talk about the departed, and especially not to criticize them. That is a piece of English manners which you should learn. So I ask that you forgive me for what I said. Of course I forgive you. I wonder if her mother is dead too. But if she says it's rude to talk about it, she would probably be upset if I asked. In any case, I suppose that explains your clothes. Your poor father was left to outfit you all on his own. Men have no head for fashion. Perhaps you will develop your own style when you are older. What do you think, Miss Crewe? Will you become a new woman? I do not know what a new woman is. Is there an old woman? What is the difference? I suppose every woman will become an old woman eventually, but every girl must become a new woman at some point first. How you do tie yourself in knots! If you aren't careful, you will become known as a blue stocking. Sarah looked down at her stockings, which were quite clearly white with blue embroidery. Lavinia sighed noisily. An overly intellectual woman. She turned back to regard her inspirational print. The ideal English lady is accomplished and well-read, but only enough to make polite conversation, not enough to be challenging. I think Lavinia will always be a challenge. Manners, accomplishments, and of course a good fortune can go a long way to make up for a less than ideal appearance. Still, there will always be a benefit in looking one's best. That Lottie, with her little golden curls, is likely to become something of a beauty when she is older, if she ever ceases to be an irritatingly spoiled brat. I suppose none of us see ourselves as we see others. I am sure I have quite obvious flaws that I completely overlook. Is it all right, then, to call her Lottie and not Miss Lay? Or Lee? Oh, yes, she's a child. And really, it is tiresome being so formal all the time. We are all practically family here, aren't we? We live under the same roof. We share with each other, like sisters. Therefore, you may call me Lavinia. Thank you, Lavinia. Oh, and you may call me Sarah. Lavinia nodded earnestly. Yes, that's just so. Failing to reciprocate would be impolite. If you want to show more enthusiasm, you can be more insistent. You must call me Sarah. However, too much enthusiasm seems clumsy, fawning, it cloys. I will remember that. She does put a great deal of thought into how a lady should behave, but if she must play a part, why not choose a more enjoyable one to play? Oh, I'm gonna cry again. She really is trying. I know she's mean, but she's trying to help Sarah. And she's trying to show her that there are ways she's going to be expected to behave and she needs to learn them. I'm gonna cry. Whew. Oh no. What do we need for this? I should be writing them all down. We don't have any knowledge. We can... Is there anything with belief? Okay, let's do that. We didn't get any grace. I may have to back up. Oh, that's not what I meant to do. Skip. Oh, patience. We have that. Excellent. Sarah, might I come in? Of course. Lavinia walked through the door to Sarah's rooms, her hands primly clutching a notebook as an older woman might carry a handbag. I wish to speak with you on the subject of Monsieur Dufarge, the French master. So Monsieur Dufarge was, we skipped that scene, but was the French teacher who was called in to teach Sarah French, and Miss Minchin had misunderstood and not realized that Sarah is quite fluent in French, and so Miss Minchin was embarrassed, and that really isn't good because she holds grudges. You did not correct him when he said that you were French. Sarah blinked, not expecting questions in this direction. It seemed a very small thing to bring up again so suddenly. She tried to remember what had actually been said. So he had said that he couldn't teach her French because she is French. I believe he meant it as a compliment. It would have been impolite to protest. Besides, I am every bit as much French as I am English. My mother was French. Lavinia cut her off at once. You are not your mother. That is, I am not saying anything against your mother, of course. But whether she was a grand Paris lady or a common merchant's daughter, that should not matter. She is not you. You are an English girl, being given an English education. There is no need for you to be marked as anything less. Marked? I don't feel marked. And I don't think that being French is anything less than being English. We are in England. Gentlemen wish good English girls. Anything other is, by definition, less. Oh, God. Do you think Lavinia had an Indian mother and she's overcompensating because of English racism and the need to fit in? It really does seem that way, doesn't it? And that's so sad. I always feel bad that I end up crying at you guys in my Let's Plays. I'm very fragile right now. I don't think that's true, but I do think Lavinia believes it, or else that she thinks society believes it. It would be different if you were foreign nobility, though even that would be suspect in some circles. To succeed in society, you must be English to the core. Lavinia took a seat upon one of Sarah's most comfortable chairs and looked around the little room with all its important treasures. Right now, because you are young and not expected to know the language so well, it makes you a novelty, a charming ornament like your tiger skin rug. A well-bred English lady should speak at least a little French to show that she is cultured, but not to be French herself. All of a sudden, Lavinia gave a wicked smile, relaxing her perfect posture. Did you know Miss Minchin can't speak French at all, not even a little bit? What? Oh, yes. I dare say she's just as hopeless as our Ermengarde, although she's desperate to hide it. What a flaw for the proprietor of a school for polishing young ladies. How do you know? My French is not anywhere near as good as yours, but I can put a few sentences together. I have said certain things in her hearing, and she has shown no reaction. Lavinia insulted Miss Minchin in French? No, surely she wouldn't dare. Not when she's so concerned with being proper. You should have seen her face when you began speaking so fluently to Monsieur Dufarge. Miss Minchin started in her chair as if she had been jabbed with pins. I did not mean to jab her with pins. She'll never admit that she resents you, of course. That would be far too ill-bred. I did not wish for her to resent me. I did not wish to make an enemy of anyone. You can't be friends with everyone, Sarah. Especially not with those who are beneath you. They will always resent you for what you have and they do not. Miss Minchin will always praise us in all our endeavors because we are young ladies from good families and she benefits from our wealth. It doesn't mean she cares for us. I think that is a very lonely way of seeing the world. Lavinia shook her head slowly, with a smile that was decidedly smug about her greater experience of society. That is how things are. She leaned forward in her seat, lowering her voice. You should be careful with Monsieur Dufar as well. He seems very fond of you, but if an unrelated man takes too much of an interest in a young girl, it might look inappropriate. Do not be alone with him. You should always have a chaperone to protect your virtue. Satisfied, she returned to an upright posture. You understand why I'm telling you all these things, don't you, Sarah? I am your role model, and you are my responsibility. I want to help you be happy and successful in your life as an Englishwoman. We are two of a kind, you and I. Once you've settled in, I think we will be very good friends. Sarah smiled, but her heart was not in it. I do not wish to be a successful Englishwoman. I wish to return home to my papa. Even when Lavinia is trying to be friendly, I am not certain that I like her. But she gave you good advice, though, and she is trying. I am trying not to cry in my microphone. So this is us going to church, which we have seen before, so it skipped. And now we have to decide what our skills will be for the week. Here we go. I'm not sure. Give him more knowledge. That wasn't actually great, but fine, whatever, doesn't matter. So that was a scene with Lavinia and Lottie and the cat. Poor cat. I have a cat on my desk right now, right next to the keyboard, and he's flicking his tail. He does not like Lavinia. Here, we're going to talk about the cat again. Here, Tybalt, come to me. Come here. The cat eyed her from across the room, but made no move to approach. You can't call a cat as if he were a particularly stupid child. It's beneath his dignity. He will come when he wishes, or not at all. The other girl tissed and continued to beckon. You're just a sweet kitty, aren't you? Here, Tybalt, come here. He isn't listening to you. He is. I saw his ears twitch when I said his name. Maybe I'm too high up. Cats pay more attention to things on their level, don't they? Do you wish to be on the same level as a pet? Sarah entered the room to find Jessie kneeling on the floor, cooing and curling her fingers in Tybalt's direction. His eyes tracked her motions, but he came no closer. What are you doing? Jessie is attempting to demonstrate her skill with animals. Jessie climbed to her feet and shook out her hair. I know I'm not as good with Tybalt as you are, Lavi, but I am trying. If you had a cat in the future, I would want to be sure that she liked me. Why she? Why not? I mean, there isn't an actual cat yet, so one is the same as the other, isn't it? You might like to have a she-cat. She-cats mean kittens, and that can be a problem. Oh, but kittens are darling. Not when you don't know what to do with them all. In the countryside, they sweep extra kittens up into sacks and drown them. Oh, shh, you didn't hear that, baby. Drown them? You wouldn't. I would certainly rather not, which is an argument against she-cats. Well, perhaps not every cat wants to have kittens. Nature takes its course. In the midst of this discussion, as if finding the subject distasteful, Tybalt rose and softly padded out of the room. Oh, there he goes. Well then, there's your chance. Let's see if you can coax him to come back without picking him up and carrying him. Jessie nodded. Hey, no, stop hitting the mic with your tail. I know, it's not fair. Poor Tybalt. Jessie nodded, accepting the challenge, and tiptoed away after the cat, murmuring endearments. Lavinia made a show of looking incredibly bored by the proceedings before turning her attention to Sarah. I wonder, are there cats in India? Sarah was startled. It was the first time Lavinia had willingly raised the subject of India. Perhaps that is why she sent Jessie away, so that we would not be heard. You do not remember then? I was very young when I came to England. I do not remember anything at all. This is my home. Most parents want to keep their children near them as long as possible. I would have stayed forever if I could. Why was Lavinia sent away? Well, there are tigers, of course, but people can't keep those. Of course not. They are far too proud to be tamed. There are hunting leopards, which great Rajas keep. Papa said they are used to chase gazelles, like the Englishmen use staghounds to hunt deer. But they have to trap the wild leopards first. The leopards never have kittens when they live with humans. I don't know why. That would solve some problems. I might like to have my own hunting cat. She rubbed her hands together with an expression of wicked pleasure that made Sarah feel herself in sympathy to the gazelles. All of a sudden, Lavinia frowned. Of course, I am nothing like a Raj. That word. What about smaller cats, then? Well, I couldn't say about everyone. India is a very large place. But my ayah said that cats in the house are unlucky and sly. People don't want them. Superstitious nonsense. Serves them right if they are overrun by snakes and mice. It isn't overrun. Sarah, I am certain that your father kept a clean and well-ordered house. Of course, you were not overrun with pests. You were pampered and protected as you should be. That does not mean the rest of India is not a festering swamp. The native people's lives are not like yours. She tossed her hair. Thank you for your time. I am going to find Jessie now. All right. Sarah watched her go, a tiny frown lingering in her absence. Lavinia understands that not everyone is so lucky as to be born into a life like hers or mine. But she just doesn't care? I'm having feels. Okay. I have no idea what we need to be. We don't have very much belief, but it hasn't actually been an issue up to this point. Let's do grace again. That's going to give us artistry, which I don't need. And vigor, which I don't need. Is there any grace that... Quit hitting my keyboard with your tail. It's rude. It's rude is what it is. I'm trying to make a let's play. Let's do knowledge. Ugh, and artistry, which I'm maxed out on. There we go. Woo! Look at that. Wow. Okay. What's this one? I don't recognize this one. Oh, it's Lottie crying. Oh, we did need knowledge. Well done, us. Sarah, might I come in? Of course. I mustn't be rude to her, even if she is often rude to others. When Lavinia walked through the door, Sarah's eyes lit with interest. Lavinia was carrying a book. I have a gift for you. Oh, you are very kind, thank you. I never expected Lavinia to bring me a present, and for no reason I can think of. It was a slim volume bound in pale green paper, its cover decorated with patterns of branches and leaves. Middlemarch, Book 1, Miss Brooke, by George Eliot. It contains excellent information about provincial life in England. I think you will find it most edifying. The author as well serves as an example. She chose to publish under a male name to avoid the expectations people would have had of her as a woman author. Oh, I haven't seen this scene and I'm gonna cry. This is actually very much still a thing. You know, most of you, I'm sure, know that J.K. Rowling published as J.K. because she almost certainly would have received a lot less attention as an author with a name that was coded as feminine. And it's something that people with feminine coded names, like myself, who go into publishing have to consider and think about every time. So I'm having feels. But yes, that is, George Eliot was a woman who chose a male-coded pseudonym so that her books would not be dismissed in the same way that they would have been if she had published under her birth name. Oh, sometimes I feel that expectations are all that Lavinia ever thinks about. It is not precisely a book intended for young women who have not completed their studies. Ordinary young women. But neither you nor I are precisely ordinary. Lavinia gave a conspiratorial smile, as if to invite Sarah into a secret sisterhood of women, each of whom knew that they were better than all of the others. I believe that we are cultured and intelligent enough to appreciate proper literature. I thought you said that a proper English girl should not be too intelligent. I said that it is frowned on to be overly intellectual. That's not the same thing. Being intelligent is how you think and what you know. Being intellectual is what you do with it. Lecturing others on what they should and should not do would not be socially appropriate. Sarah's lips quirked as she fought the urge to laugh. Lecturing others appeared to be one of Lavinia's favorite pastimes. But to be intelligent and well-read within your own circles, in order to have more interesting conversations with other ladies, that is desirable. That French maid of yours, Mariette, you would not wish her to be dull, would you? No. She understands that companionship is part of her position. She will learn from you how to be the companion that you want, to help find things that you enjoy and to talk about them with you. Your friends can do the same. Lavinia clasped Sarah's hands just as if they were already the dearest of friends. I hope you enjoy the book. Once you have read it, we can talk about it together, and I can tell you the most delicious gossip about the lady who was George Eliot. Won't Jessie be jealous? Oh, Jessie! She has no use for books. She will not care. Her family is not the best, you know, and you are far cleverer than she. Even Jessie would admit that. Jessie likes you very much. Jessie is my best friend and always will be, but you and I share things that she never could. Don't you see? It is not a choice of one or the other. When a lady enters society, she needs all the allies, friends that she can get. I do not wish to enter society. I want to return to India and my papa. Lavinia cannot understand that. As if sensing Sarah's hesitation, Lavinia's gaze suddenly softened. Please, Sarah, there are so few people that I can talk to, truly talk to, about matters of import. So few who would understand. I have listened to your stories. Will you not share mine? Lavinia may not have much of an imagination, but she is more intelligent and well-read than she usually lets on. Of course I will read your book. I hope we will share many more in the future. You are a darling. Lavinia leaned towards Sarah, as if to kiss her cheek. In mid-motion, however, her mouth came open, catching in a little gasp of air, and she diverted her course, pulling away. I should not be so familiar. I will see you later, Sarah Crewe. Good day. Oh! My heart is just this little broken thing, lying in pieces. She exited, leaving Sarah to admire her new treasure. Why? Why can't you kiss her, Lappy? Which scene is this? Oh, it is the dance scene. We shall skip it. It's very cute. Okay. I do want to go through the museum scene again, because I did like that, but we haven't gotten there yet. I can't remember how many weeks there were in this game, guys. I think it was like 40. It was a lot. We're not going to cover all of them in this one. This will be a multi... We don't have any belief. I don't know that Lavinia values belief, but okay, there we go. Alrighty. We have to wait until week 14? I'm gonna skip events. Because I don't want to spend my... Oh, what happened? Oh, okay. So this is a Lavinia, Jessie scene. And Lavinia wants to hide. Shh! Lavinia took hold of her friend's shoulders and pushed her back against the wall. Wait a moment. There, she's gone. Why are we avoiding Sarah? Ever since she got that letter, it's been nothing but India this and India that. If I have to hear her say that word again, I'm afraid the hair will fly right off my head. I like her stories. Do you know her father has faced down a tiger? He shot the one whose skin Sarah has in her room. So, okay, Lavinia, it's why... Oh, I guess that's why she's avoiding us until week 14, because... We're freshly excited about all things India. Lavinia, why do you not love India? Because she's been made not to for self-preservation, is what it sounds like. Ugh, which just breaks my heart. Okay. Now we're gonna skip. Zoom. Still week 14. It's gonna be a while. No event. Skip. I feel bad about all the scenes I'm skipping, but we've seen them. We were all in the Jessie one, and they don't change. And I really don't want to redo all of them. A new weekday activity is now available. Sarah can tutor. And what we really... The only thing we're low in is belief. We're maxed out on everything because I haven't been spending it, because there's nothing to spend it on with Lavinia not being willing to talk to us. Shoo. Lavinia, why won't you talk to us? We'll read a book, could max out our knowledge. Events expired on those. There's us walking. Skip week. And now we meet a new character! Becky! Well, not really. But we saw her. It's so much faster when I skip literally everything. Today I have arranged a special outing. We will be attending the British Museum of National History. This is the one I wanted. Natural. Does that mean plants? Ugh, I hope not. There's nothing edifying about plants. It could be interesting to attend a museum of plants with people who know all about them and can tell their stories. You mean gardeners? Maybe we'll get to play in a garden. Quiet now. Form up. Let's go. So, but look at Lavinia's eyes. Look at the stars in her eyes and her little hands on her chin. I love Lavinia so much. It's going to eat me. It can't eat you, Lottie. It's dead. It's not a real dinosaur. It's a former dinosaur. It's dead. It's going to fall on me. I don't think it will fall. It's really rather interesting. It's an amazing find. It's disturbing. It's a monster. It's marvelous. Jessie shivered and took Lottie's hand in hers. Come on, let's go find something to look at that isn't dead. I think that everything in this museum may be. Then we will look at the walls. They are rather pretty walls. Are you coming, Lavinia? No, I want to look at this one a while longer. I'll catch up with the two of you in a few minutes. You are here, aren't you? Right. Sarah wondered if this was the first time that Lavinia had ever preferred Ermengarde's company to Jessie's. I just love her expression looking at the. Okay. Oh, Lottie. Now we can play event. Knowledge and sympathy. Lavinia, might I come in? Of course. I'm glad you've come. Did you read my book? Yes. At Lavinia's inviting hand wave, Sarah took a seat. A great many people in this story have very strong opinions about what a woman should and shouldn't do. It is always so. And it seems that the women are mostly thinking about whom they will marry and how that will affect their lives. That is a woman's lot. It does not seem very interesting. Lavinia frowned, and Sarah hastily corrected herself. That sort of life, I mean, not the book. I liked Dorothea, Miss Brooke. She was clever and kind and wished to be useful and help others. She has made a foolish decision in marrying Casaubon. This is the part where I admit that I haven't read Middlemarch. Everyone keeps saying that, but I don't understand why. He is a good and intelligent man, and he teaches her Greek and accepts her help with his research. He is too old for her, and does not appreciate her as a whole person. He is not as good as he seems. You will see more in the later volumes, if you are willing to read them. Oh yes, I'm happy to keep reading with you, and it was interesting seeing the way the estates and villages are organized. I'm glad. Oh, I'm sorry, I'm being a poor hostess. Please sit a moment. I will call someone to fetch tea for us. She hurried from the room, leaving an uncertain Sarah in place. I can't leave now. That would be unkind. She looked up at the inspirational print that Lavinia had shown her before, of the beautiful girl who represented the English rose. I can never tell with Lavinia whether this is what she wants with her whole heart, or only what she thinks others want her to be. I don't understand her. We are not truly friends, not yet. In a few moments, Lavinia returned to the room. She did not bring tea herself, of course. That task would be left for a servant to complete. I have been thinking about the museum that we attended. It was a very unusual trip. I've never seen anything like that in India. I should hope not. She took her seat, smoothing her skirt neatly over her legs. Giant bones, the remains of monsters long dead. Do they frighten you, Sarah? No, not exactly. They are only bones, not monsters themselves. I know they can't harm me. The bones of a person would be much more frightening. They might carry a curse. Lavinia's shoulders rose as she shuddered. Ugh! To put a person's naked bones on display would be unspeakably vulgar. I have heard that they sometimes unwrap mummies from old Egypt at university lectures and gawk at the dead. It's simply disgusting, not something that any lady would ever attend. Sarah could imagine the scene, the fascinated gentleman, the reluctant sarcophagus forced open, the hiss of long-dead beetles suddenly stirring, the blackened form rising to seek vengeance. Even the story in her mind did not seem at all suitable for sharing with young ladies. Bone itself is a curious substance when it is no longer part of a skeletal shape. It has a strange beauty all its own. It represents both life and death. It provides strength, but is itself fragile. Especially the bones of birds. How delicate they must be to retain the freedom to fly. They give the bird a power we can never have, but they would snap in your hand. I hope she has never snapped a bird's bones. You need much larger bones to start with if you wish to use them for carving. Imagine an ox so heavy and ugly in life can become something beautiful after death and last far into the future. I think there must be a better way to leave a lasting memorial. For a memorial, of course. A bone-handled knife may be sharp and lovely, but it says nothing of the life it once held. It is the artist that speaks for it. Miss Minchin would never teach us to pick up a knife, even in the service of a fashionable lady's pastime. But perhaps, in the future, I will try my hand at carving. Oh, Lavinia. I think I would rather not see Lavinia wielding a knife either. There was a tap at the door. Ah, that must be our tea. I expect it will be served on bone china. I love her. She has all these beautiful interests and she doesn't feel allowed to have them because of the society that she's stuck in. And it breaks my heart. Ah. My heart is broke. And we can't see Lavinia again until week 17. There we go. Full maxed out again. Okay, so briefly, Sarah's father wrote a letter saying that he had invested in a diamond mine. And so now everybody's very curious as to whether Sarah is going to be even more rich than she already is. When Sarah finally spotted Lavinia's dark hair, the older girl was almost out the door. Lavinia! Miss Crew. I've been hoping to speak with you, to be sure everything was all right. I am fine. I am very busy. Would you like to talk more about the book? No. She spun on her heel to exit, then, more slowly, turned around to face Sarah again. Now that your father has found his mines, will you be decking yourself out in diamonds? What? Well, I don't have any plans for them, and I haven't asked for any. But I suppose that if my papa sent me a present, a little necklace or pin, then I would wear it. Diamonds at your age would be horribly vulgar. Again she swiveled, and then turned back. And you can buy your own books. At last, she made a conclusive exit. Oh. Lavinia strode through the halls, Tyvil clasped to her bosom, crooning little songs to him, and paying no attention to any fur that might be shed onto her dress. Oh, this is when Lavinia starts acting a little strange. And possibly kills some small birds. We're just gonna skip over that part. Act 1 events complete for Lavinia. So the rest of the Act 1 is kind of done. And so I know I've been skipping a lot. Sarah has made friends at school and has gone from being a wealthy person to they expect her to be incredibly rich if her father's investment in the diamond mines works out. Lavinia has gone from feeling like a potential friend and ally of Sarah and someone who can understand her to feeling resentful that Sarah is now about to become even more wealthy than she already was. I think it's never really clear, or it hasn't been clear to me how rich Lavinia's family is, but I think that they're fairly wealthy, and now, you know, she's gone from being equals to Sarah in terms of wealth to looking at being completely outdone by her wealth if she's going to be coated in diamonds at all times. So there's some jealousy there, I think. This Act 1 reference is to the fact that we're, our father is about to die, which will be awful. And I'm kind of tempted to cut the video there and pick up in a second one. So that's actually what I'm going to do. Thank you all again for watching. This has been a little Lily Princess. We're doing the Lavinia walkthrough, and my name is Anna Mardola, and I will see you in the next video. Thank you always for being so patient with me. Bye-bye.